What's up, Power Ass Crew? Today we're putting new hubs on my trailer and we're converting the lug pattern from 5 on 4 3/4 Chevrolet to 5 on 4 1/2 Jeep Ford wheels. So why would I do that? That's the only Chevrolet I got right there, and it's a 6 lug. There's a Jeep, there's a Jeep there, there's a Jeep there. I got a bunch of Jeep wheels. Let's do it. First things first, get that wheel off there. So we were experiencing technical difficulties, then my battery died, and therefore I did not get any of that I just said. So we've already removed the cotter key, but I wanted to talk about this bearing being loose. Remember? Wiggle, 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 back and forth, loose, not good. So, see how well it free spins? It just kind of keeps it rolling like that. That's not good. Let's get the sucker off and get it changed out. So, I'm going to reuse this because the kit does not come with new castle nut or that washer behind it. And there's grit in that grease because as I'm unscrewing the castle nut, I can feel resistance. It's like it was grinded on paper or something. So that seal back there is bad, which has allowed junk to get inside. Grease rag or shop rag, wipe the junk off. Now there's a washer right there. Pull your hub just a little bit. Don't pull it all the way out. You can see the bearing will pop out like that. And you just take your shop rag, get your flat washer, and just work it off like this. Then once you get it like that, take your shop rag, wipe it off real good, a little brake clean, clean her up. Shop rag, brake clean, all good. Reinstall it just a little bit. Now take your hub and pull like this. I was trying not to get that bearing to fall out there, and what did it do? It fell right in my lap. Now I got a big grease circle in my pants. Yeah, that's it. You can see right there that seal is not in good shape at all. So it's definitely been taking on grime from the road, you know, rain and all that kind of stuff. It's gritty. Yeah, that seal's bad. But like I said, I'm not reusing any of this, so I don't care. If you was doing a little bit of PM, preventive maintenance to your trailer, and you find that, replace it. What you don't need is be taking a cross-country trip, got your Jeep on your trailer, and you're rolling down the road and you're burning your bearings up. Next thing you know, you're on the side of the road going, what do I do? What do I do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This axle gets the hubs, converting it over to 5 on 4 1/2 to fit Jeep wheels. That front axle up there, it's got brakes on it now. I haven't wired them in yet, but this axle right here, it has brakes. So what I'll do is buy me another set of hubs to keep with me all the time. In the event I'm going down the road and I smoke a bearing or something, I can change them out on the side of the road and I'll be like stuck. I mean, hubs aren't that crazy expensive, and I'll link them up down below so you can buy a set. But be sure that it will work with your axles. These are 3,500 pound axles. And if you've got 6,000 pound, 8,000 pound axles, they're going to be a totally different setup, okay? 6 lug versus 8 lug. There's so many different scenarios comes along with that. So be sure that it's going to work with the axles you are using. There's a difference, okay? And before you guys call me out in the comments, yes, I've got, those are 29s right there. They come off a rust bucket originally when I got it. No, I'm not leaving them on there. They're just on the trailer for right now until I get my trailer tire switched over on my other 5 on 4 1/2 wheels. So, back to the axle. So now take your shop rag, wrap around that sucker, and just wipe the grime and grease off of it. Get a new shop towel. Have plenty of these, because you're going to need them. Grease is messy. Now the thread's going to have all that grime in it that I mentioned a moment ago. What you want to do is clean those threads with the brake clean. I'm going to do this off camera because this stuff splashes, hits my camera, and yeah, bad things happen. So what I'm doing, I'm cleaning the seal surface back here. I'm making sure all that's clean, and clean the threads and all the way down the spindle shaft. Now here's your new hub. It's not uncommon for there to be like dust and debris down the side there, so brake clean, rag, get everything inside there good and clean. So your kit comes with dust cover. It's got a hole in it. Don't worry about it. It's got a rubber plug, covers that. Then you got the outer bearing, inner bearing, new lug nuts. which we set these out of the way for the moment. And that one falls back down, of course. Take this bearing, set it right there. Your inner bearing, set it right here, over here, wherever. As long as you've got a clean surface to work with. And ta-da, a new seal. And notice this seal is a double lip, inside and outside lip. That's quality. Gotta have that. So now the inner bearing, which goes on the inner side of the hub, we gotta pack that baby with grease. This is when it gets messy. I'm not really a big fan of gloves at all, but you know, whenever packing a whole bunch of grease like this is what I call my dirty work, meaning about to get greasy. That's when I'll glove up, and once I get all the dirty work done, then I'll take the gloves off. Get old Harbor Freight gloves. Get the 7 mil, because they also got a 5 mil and a 7 mil. Get at least the 7 mil, because they last a lot longer, they don't tear as much. They're a little bit more expensive, but not by a whole lot. And my hands are sweaty, and these things don't want to go on. It's just 90 degrees out here right now. It's cooling off finally. Whew. Let's get greasy. Take your bearing. Get you some greasy snot. And start pushing the grease in the back side of the cage right here. This is your bearing race, this is your cage, and this is your roller bearings. You want to take your grease and push it between the cage and the race right there. Now some people will put the grease in the palm of their hand and do like this right here and keep packing it, they'll roll it, keep packing it, keep rolling it, and I'm going to show you. Let me put that down here in the palm of my hand. They'll do like this. Then they put more grease in there, but then you get that buildup right there. You scoop it out, roll it down here, and just start like that. And what it does, it pushes the grease between the race here and the cage, and you can see between the roller bearings right there, you're starting to get the grease packing up, coming out of it. See, right here, see if it pushes it. Look real close on the bearing. As a push, you can see it squeezing between that roller. So that part of the cage inside there has got all the air pushed out of it. It got a little bit right there. But being that I'm a YouTuber and I've always got to keep that camera in shot, I do it like that, so therefore I can keep the bearing right there in front of you. Then I'll scoop out right here, push, scoop out right here, push, get right there, push. And what you want to try to avoid doing is pushing it from the front side. You would think you push this way, then push that way. But what you're trying to do is push the grease all the way through the cage. And therefore, you get all the air out of there and you got no air voids. Because anywhere you've got air, you've got a potential for generating heat. If you can generate heat, you got to burn your bearings. You do it like that. I mean, you just take your pick on how you want to do it. Completely up to you. What I'll do occasionally is like I'll smooth the cage out like this, and then get me a glob of grease, a skeeter on my bald head. Ouch! Then you push right there. You can see that grease squeezing up between the rollers. And if you want to check to make sure, right there I'm squeezing up between the rollers. So we have pushed all the air out from that area. Move on to the next area and keep going through the rotation like that until you've pushed all the air out of the cage and the inside race. About needs more grease. Just some more snot. And if I'm pushing like this, the grease in, but then I'll take and roll my palm. When I push my palm into it like that, it forces it up through those cages like that. Let's see, let me show you. Put the bit right there. See right here? Right there? Push it. Also notice right there, see the grease squeezing out between the race and the cage? That's also a good indication of you've got all the air pushed out of the cage and you're good to go. On that cage and watch the grease pop up right there. See, squeezing it on up. Means I've got all the air voids out. And after a while, you also, once it pushes through, you can see between the front side of the bearing here, between the cage and the race, you'll get a big, I don't know, like a waterfall flowing out of it. Just scrape it off and start coming from the backside, pushing it again. When you get that waterfall, what I call waterfall, or grease squeezing out right there, you know that bearing's full in that area, which is what you're after. And now I'm going to give it a good heavy coating all the way around it. See how I got that film right there? I know I've got all my air voids pushed out now, because I could see it squeezing between the rollers and the cage all the way around it as I was going around it. And I was pushing it out the front side of the bearing here. That lets me know I've got no air voids inside the bearing. So now, I coated the whole thing. Set it over here for the moment. Like I said, we're getting our dirty work over with. Now I'm going to pack this bearing here. There's no point in you watching me do this, so we'll be back in a moment when we put the bearing in the hub and put the seal in place. So we got this bearing packed up, but there's one thing I wanted to point out to you guys, because somebody's going to question, why do you got to push it from the back side? Why? I want to push it from the front side. No. Here's why. Look at the space between the race and the cage. The back side has that wide gap right there. The front side does not. So as you pack the back side of the bearing right here between that race, that wide gap right there, the wider gap allows you to push that grease through the bearing, and the smaller gap here allows it to pack inside the bearing before it squeezes out all the smaller crevices. So by design, this helps you. Smaller gap here allows the pressure inside the bearing. The wider gap on the back side allows you to push the grease through to build that pressure inside the bearing in these tighter clearances. So that helps you pack the bearings. See right there, squeeze it up, it's coming out right there. So now I'm going to give it that good heavy coat, lay it down here, and we're going to start taking care of the hub. Yeah, that's it. And Amazon just dropped off my lights for my XJ camper build. Yeah, that's right. If y'all been watching my channel, I'm taking a Jeep Cherokee XJ, turning it into an overland camper. And it's in process now. But I just haven't released a video on it yet. So now we're going to get down inside the hub here. Take some snot, rub it on that race right here. And get down inside the hub a little bit. Let me start moving the camera for you a little bit. I just got grease all over my camera. Yeah, deal with it. Best we got. Put it down inside the race right there. Don't fill the cavity full of grease. Some people get this mentality, I'm going to stuff a whole bunch of grease inside there. That'll make it a lot better. No, it don't. What it does is, as it generates heat and you got too much grease inside there, it builds up pressure, which ends up squeezing it out the seal and, well, damages your seal. So you want enough in there that it does its job, but you don't want too much that it just causes chaos. So now we got some slime inside there. Take our greased up bearing, put that in place like that, and get our excess off of this, because we're about to put the seal in. Ew. I got to deal with the camera and this, and these gloves are hard to come on and off, so YouTube, I do this stuff and it drives me crazy. Ooh, that is just gross. Looks like baby poop. That's nasty. If your grease looks like baby poop, it is not good. Okay, I got my hands as clean as I possibly can. Just put the seal kind of level in place. Use my fancy seal driver. Tie that back right there a little bit. These things are so handy to have. I know. Some of you old school people, and trust me, hey, I'm 53 years old, I can do it too. Tap, 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 go around it, tap it. Or put your 2x4 block over top of it, say, smack the 2x4 block and drive it in. Many different ways of doing this. I've done it. But this thing right here, it is so handy for building differentials and putting in seals. So what you want to do is, this seal is going to be a bit on the snug side. So make sure you've got as flat and level as possible. Pick out the proper size plate here. Center it, hold it, lightly tap it. What you want to look at is like, oh looky, it's going out all catawampus. That's not good. So now you want to get on this side a little bit. Let's see if we can straighten it. And the reason I really like using these seal drivers more than tapping it in with a hammer is oftentimes tapping with a hammer on one side to walk it in, you end up distorting the metal, which therefore distorts the seal, and well, they just don't work as good. There we go. There, we got her straightened out a little bit. Let's see if we can drive her home. Notice I took my driver, kind of went off centered a little bit because I was still high on the spot, and that bolt that holds this plate onto this, move it over, but don't put it on the seal. Make sure you're off the seal a little bit, and you can kind of level it out a little bit, because I'm pretty well even now. I'm a little high right here. Yeah, now center it. Now that I've got it level, drive her home. Yes, that's the way. I like it. There we go. Flip it over. Now we want to put some more snot on this race. Put some snot and lob it in there. Oh, yeah, we're saying stick my arm in front of the camera every time. And just to give you guys a little bird's eye view, that's about the way I set them up. You're going to have a little bit behind the race right here, a little bit in front of it, because when you put your dust seal in, it's going to take out all the grease right here, your dust cover, whatever. But if you got it on the bearing right there, whenever you put your bearing in place, you get a little bit of squeeze out. Saying, yeah, I did a good job right there. Alright, let's put it on the spindle. Oh, you kidding me? Dude, I have got grease all over my camera. The things I do for YouTube. Now, before we put this hub on the spindle, get you some more snot. Grease up your shaft. Some people preach don't do this. I do, simply because, well, I got a little bit too much back here on the seal surface. That's a little carried away, but right here is where your bearings ride. Right here and right here. Put a little grease right there. Later on, if you have to change your bearings out, that prevents the bearing from seizing to the spindle and destroying your spindle. Grease it up, baby. Yep. And now, da-da, right on like this. And you're gonna hit a spot to where it don't want to go on, because that back bearing's got to find its sweet spot where it pops on at. Oftentimes, it's easier to not have that bearing in right there. See, told you. Now we take our bearing, put it in right there, pick it up, and there. There's the wheel. I like it. Yep, good fit, good fit, good fit. Take our washer. And then we take our washer, put it in place right there. Again, push it on the washer, turn your hub a little bit. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Castle nut. Okay, now it's time to set bearing preload. Okay, I've got it loose. And also bear in mind too, we got brand new fresh grease in there, which is going to slow it down from turning so much. But see, got a little bit of play coming back and forth like this, which means we need to tighten this up a little. So now, see, right, I can tell already that's too loose. So go, okay, I feel my castle nut starting to load up a little bit. Go right there is where my cotter key will line up. What does it feel like? Move it back and forth? No, because I just moved the trailer. Spin it. I like that. Alright, for kicks and giggles, go a little bit more. Okay, I can already tell you that's not going to work because I've got way too much load on my castle nut. I can tell it by feel. Right there. We're good right there because it's got perfect amount of preload. It's turning free, but it's not going like spinning to keep them going. Whenever you got nice fresh grease going on, you'll have that resistance in the bearing to slow that spin. That is a good thing because that's protecting the bearing. And whenever you're packing the grease, high temp disc brake wheel bearing grease. See, always get the high temp. It don't matter what color it is, but just get high temp disc brake wheel bearing grease. This is for the cars. It works for the trailers. So right here, high temp disc brake wheel bearing grease. Now we're going to take our cotter key. I know some of you are freaking out. Oh my gosh, she's reusing one. Oh, the world's going to come to an end. Then you take this and bend it over. And, ouch, took my finger out there. That hurt.
Ouch, that hurt. That really, really hurt.
There we go. That's the way. And now our dust cover goes over like that. In my fancy smancy driver, which makes life so much easier. Look at that. Yeah. And let me clean that. And then we take our little rubber plug, hook it on the bottom side lip first, and walk it in. Yes, we are good. So my Power Addicts crew, I know that right there is not exactly a Jeep video, but if you do hardcore wheeling, you've got a trailer. If you've got a trailer, you need to know how to maintenance them. And that's how you put new hub assemblies on, and if you need to, change the lug pattern. So everyone, if you enjoyed that video, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, leave me some cool comments down below. Leave me some cool comments down below. Peace. Later, y'all. Wanna know what's crazy? I've got a seat that I could have been doing that with. I was actually sitting in my creeper for a moment. But no, I had to stop, and now my old man knees are saying, oh. Peace. Later, y'all.